Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. Tonight, we're going to talk about Phil Spencer and what he thinks of the Metaverse. Phil Spencer appears to not be a fan of the Metaverse. He's got a few choice words during a Wall Street Journal live event. He basically kind of compared it a little bit, the Metaverse, to a poorly built video game. Like I said, this was at a Wall Street Journal's Tech Live conference that just happened this past Wednesday. A poorly built video game. That's something coming from the head of Xbox, right? It's not something you want. I think that's not fair. And that's just my opinion that's not fair. But, you know, Mark Zuckerberg is feeling the burn of this when he's lost so much money, basically 70% of what Meta shares prices have dropped because he's just all in and doesn't want to get out. According to Mark Zuckerberg, he's all in. He's lost billions, so he is definitely all in. But Phil Spencer does not appear to be a fan of it. He, like I said, he compared it to a poorly built video game. He also talked about how the setting of this was they were trying to build your living room where you're actually in your living room. And he kind of said, Phil said, that's not how I want to spend my time, which I kind of agree with him. I don't want to spend my time into a VR world talking to people and chatting with people. What are we back in the days of Yahoo chat and, you know, AOL chat rooms and crap like that? What are we in, you know? It's like he's trying to bring back that old chat room. Next thing you know, it's just gonna be people popping in and out going ASL, you know, it's going to be those chat lines all over again, being pushed by Mark Zuckerberg. Or Mark Zuckerberg's going to not be worth billions anymore. He's going to be worth tens of thousands because he's going to be in the poorhouse pushing this thing through to the end. You know, Phil did say, you know, it's in its infancy, right? The Metaverse is in its infancy, and he kind of recognizes that. And he does think that it will evolve. But you know, it's kind of weird to see him comment on this, right? It doesn't seem like Mark Zuckerberg's building this for gaming. He's building it for community, you know, kind of like Facebook and everything else. And maybe it'll eventually go there. What is Phil Spencer thinking it should be? You know, I'd like to hear from him what he thinks that the Metaverse should be. Should it be geared towards gaming? I mean, because that's kind of where most of the stuff is used anyway. But I think Mark Zuckerberg's looking at the Metaverse more as, you know, the replacement to Facebook or the replacement to social media. But I don't want to put it on a VR headset to do social media, to use my social media. I damn sure don't want to look at you guys making facial expressions and whatever I am while I'm chatting, you know. But Nick, what do you think, man? What do you think about Phil Spencer and his comments towards the Metaverse?
I mean, everyone has their opinion, right? I think the Metaverse should die in a fire. Yeah, everyone has their opinion. I mean, he basically says, you know, like you said, it's in the early stages and it will evolve. I hope it doesn't evolve. I hope it just dies out, peters off. But yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Right now, the Metaverse is not doing so hot, right? And it is I mean, not to give a bad to those developers and the people that are trying to build what Mark Zuckerberg's is envisioning, right? And those developers and things like that, just doing what they're paid to do. So not trying to get a dig at them or anything like that. But and I don't think Phil's necessarily saying that either. I think what he's basically trying to say is right now the Metaverse is not at its stage it is right now, it is not a great place to be, right? It's not what Mark Zuckerberg has said that what his envision for the Metaverse is, right? It's not there. What is presented today is in its infancy and is not a very good presentation of what some people think the Metaverse can and will be at some point, right? So I think that's what Phil is trying to basically say by that. I don't think he's trying to put a dig at the developers and things like that. It's just I think the direction they're going with currently with the Metaverse is in the wrong direction, right? Now, as far as the Metaverse goes, like, I mean, that's the main thing that Mark Zuckerberg hasn't, you know, and you kind of put it out there, is hasn't really relayed to the the people, the masses, as to what the purpose of the metaverse is, right? We've heard the metaverse and the metaverse terms from all these people, not even just Mark Zuckerberg, but all these people that were kind of, all these big developers and big honchos that were kind of on board, but kind of, they're still on board, but they're not kind of pushing it as much. Walmart's been there, and I can't remember the other one we talked about not too long ago that had its own little place. We talked about Walmart World, but then there was another one as well. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the big question for Mark Zuckerberg and for the metaverse. Like, what is it? What is its purpose? Right. What problem is it trying to solve? Right. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like Mark Zuckerberg is creating it as just a fun social gaming atmosphere, but to serve a purpose, right? To solve a problem. And yet I don't think it's clear to anyone, or maybe even clear to Mark Zuckerberg, what that problem is that needs to be solved, right? I mean, we have solutions today. I know things evolve and things change, but is putting on a VR headset and going into a virtual space the direction that chatting and game, and socializing needs to go in? I'm not sure. I mean, if we want to go to where people should be in the same room, how about we do more social events where people actually show up at locations and just like hang out with your friends instead of in a virtual world? Like disconnect from the internet and go hang out outside, touch some grass, as they say. I know not all of us like to go outside, but if that's really what you're looking for, that would be the best option, right? Not to don a headset and go into some virtual world. Especially, they want it to be this all-encompassing place where you talk, do work, you play, you shop, you eat, you screw, whatever. It all happens within the metaverse, right? It's your second life, your second home. We're all going to be matrixed and hooked up. I mean, I think that's the envisioning in the long term. And I don't know if, at least right now in this world, I don't think people are quite ready for that. I don't think people want to, just jack in and and go for it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the metaverse is supposed to be. I don't think anybody does. I don't think Mark knows either. Shane, how about you, man? Do you know what the metaverse is? Tell me.
Of course I know what the metaverse is. I'm all tech guy here. The metaverse is going to be PlayStation Home, but in VR, where you can go to the mall, hang out with your friends, but in VR. You can hook up with that girl you like at work in VR. You can have intercourse with that girl at work, but in VR. That's where it's going. As this group would probably want, we want more Ready Player One, less PlayStation Home. That's where VR should be heading. I want Lawnmower Man without the, murder of the neighbor. Maybe. VR as it is right now, the most popular thing you can do in VR right now is play games. But I think what Zuckerberg wants is he wants Futurama. You put on a headset, you browse the web, and you shop. It's going to be about purely just money, money, money. It's about shopping, shopping, shopping. I think that's where it's going to lead, because that's what we do with ideals in this world. We use it to make money somehow, not for the betterment, not for something that's a problem like you were trying to call out, but just another way to make a buck. When you were on PlayStation Home, you could go into a virtual place and buy things for your PlayStation, or you could buy just things for your virtual home. In the episode of Futurama where Fry put on the headset, he went and hooked up with a Lucy Lou bot, and he got hit with all these ads and spam. That's what Meta's going to end up being. Yes, do we want Gamer with Gerard Butler, or Ready Player One, but that's not what we're going to get. We are going to get a Walmart headset. We're going to get Target headset, the mall, Amazon. It's all going to be just strap on. Oh my God, I can virtually look through these clothes. Oh, I love the way that feels. It feels like my two fingers together. I mean, that's what it's coming down to. It's, you described it as solving something like that. Man, Zuckerberg is not that ethical. He's not trying to fix anything that's needed, that's not even broken. He's just trying to find a way to make another niche for himself, because he really broke the social media stuff open with Facebook. It started off with other companies, but his really blew the doors off of it, which is probably one of the biggest problems this world has right now is social media. I mean, because everybody's a dick in VR or online. So can you imagine how bad VR is going to be? I'm going to fight you. That's what the metaverse is going to be: shopping, virtual bullying, and some more shopping. And of course, Pornhub's going to chime in, which that part I'm on board with. But everything else, I don't want. I don't want to shop in VR. I don't want to hang out with you guys in VR. I want to play games with you guys, but I don't want to, hey, why don't we put on our headsets and we'll go to the mall? I'll put on our headsets. We'll go to GameStop. I'm just kidding. We never go to GameStop, but that's what it's leading to. And it's just a money-making scheme. I wouldn't say a scheme. It's just another way for him trying to build something to increase his money. I don't think there's a purpose other than that. I don't think there's anything noble or a problem to solve. It's just, how else can we find a way to make money? He announced the new one at, what was it, $1,500? The Oculus Quest.
It's $14.99, Shane. MetaQuest Pro.
MetaQuest.
It's $14.99.99. It's not $15.
Oh, sorry. What was I thinking? Yeah. No. The Quest 2 is an awesome little headset. Nick's got one. I've got one. They're fun. They are not something I want to spend hours in. It's not. They're fairly comfortable, but it's not something that anybody, I think, wants to spend hours in. This group, you can look it up on our YouTube or TikTok, where we did a virtual thing at the bowling alley. That was really cool. Could you guys imagine trying to do an hour of that? No. And those are pretty comfortable, but it's just too hot. It's too much. It's, gamers aren't built that way. Now, if you hook me up on like some wire work, like Lawnmower Man, I give it a try for an hour, but that's not where the meta is going. Meta is just money, money, money. So, but the good news is you will be able to get you a Lucy Lou bot if you're into that.
Well, I mean, I don't know what Mark Zuckerberg is. I think he's in too deep right now, right? I mean, let's put it this way. The guy used to be worth $136 billion. He's lost over $100 billion of his wealth in the course of 1 year by focusing all of his efforts and not everything is that, but the stock of Meta has dropped partially due to 50% decline in revenue, and also in, him just throwing billions of dollars at Meta, trying to make it a thing when nobody else is adopting it. And so I'm kind of wondering where he's going with this and when he'll hit bottom, because like I said, he's only, I say this term only, worth $36 billion, but hell, I wish I was worth at least fucking 1 million, let alone $1 billion, but that's neither here nor there. But he lost $100 billion and he doesn't even look like he's flinching at it. He's still the 29th richest man in the world. So, I mean, he's still rich, but
what
he used
loser.
to be a lot richer when he had $136 billion. And that's over the course of a year. Things are getting a little bit more difficult with the social media company Meta. I mean, what was it, just last year, Apple introduced some security measures into their system to basically prevent or lessen the amount of communications that apps apps have amongst each other. So there's app information and ad and revenue information that they're no longer allowed to basically recognize on Apple devices. I really wish that there would be some laws amongst that, because I think data privacy is a huge issue, and allowing cross apps to talk to each other and things like that is a dangerous thing, because all it does is just create targeted ads and garbage that you don't necessarily need. I'm all for lessening the ad revenue for these people, because while social media has some benefits, I think it has more drawbacks than benefits, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, you know. Mark Zuckerberg is probably going to run Meta into the ground chasing the metaverse. You know, I mean, that's the way it looks like he's going. 50% revenue loss this year due to social media losses, which is ad revenue, really. It lost an ass ton of money. You know, part of it's due to the pandemic exploded their profits, because a good chunk of the world was sitting at home during the pandemic and browsing Facebook and browsing this. And that's just ad revenue for Facebook, ad revenue. That's all they were getting. And now it's just kind of leveling back out. Because I think I was looking and they had like 100 and, or what was the, I can't remember what the all-time high was last year. Was it last year, I think? Yeah, last year. I think they had like a $337 some odd stock price, and now it's back down to like $99 in a year's time. Not even really a year's time frame. In less than a year, its stock has dropped that much. But you know, if we go back to, you know, I somewhere I read, I think it was 2016. The stock is lower than it's been since the year 2016, which predates the pandemic. So part of this is the pandemic, people going back to work and things leveling out. But part of it, I think, is investors are worried that Mark Zuckerberg is just all in on the Meta, no matter what happens. And they're worried about that. I would be worried about that, because there's no way in hell the average consumer is buying a $1,500 headset. There's just not. Sorry. I refuse to buy the price increased Quest 2. So I will not be buying the Quest 3 that's going to be coming out, because it's too high priced, in my opinion, for a gimmick. So at least to me, it's a gimmick, you know. But he's supposed to be building this whole VR, AR world that and I'm with Nick. It doesn't fix anything, but it serves no purpose neither. Nick made the joke earlier, but it is Second Life. It's really what he's trying to build. They already did that, but now he's trying to make it in VR, AR. And I'm like, who cares? You know, what is the whole point of AR? I understand AR in like a small form factor that you can wear, like a pair of glasses or something that you can wear, or a visor or something on your face, but a whole headset that's taking inputs from externally to your face and internally, like facial features and things like that, makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't care if I'm chatting with my friends in a virtual world or a meeting, what facial features, what facial expressions they're making. I mean, maybe that's important if you're trying to interview somebody for a job, or you're trying to get a sale or something like that, pitching an idea. But what are the chances that if I'm hiring somebody, they have a headset that can do that? What's the chances? Pretty much zero. What's the chances of me making a sale with another company that they're going to have enough headsets to support this? Pretty much zero. At $1,500, you have basically shoved that thing up your ass, basically. Nobody's going to buy it because it has no benefit. $1,500, who's going to buy it?
Oh, is that a serious question? Because I sure feel like.
I mean, even as a company, how can you see a benefit of $1,500 headset? Because to make it worthwhile, if you're a remote office, you have to buy sets for that office and sets for that office. So it's not just $1,500. You know, if you're an HR hiring firm, it doesn't make sense. You're not going to be able to hire somebody on the other end because they can't afford a $1,500 headset. So you can see their facial expressions. You know what you can do? If you're hiring remote workers, it's called a webcam. It's like, let's do a virtual meeting with a webcam. I don't need no damn VR headset for that.
And
I don't
you
need
can make yourself
immersion.
look like a cat.
I could do that with this. Yeah. But I don't need a headset for that, you know, and that's my whole thing is What is a headset going to give the business world that they don't already have? What is the headset going to give the gaming community that they want? Because it's not what they have or don't have, but it's what they want. Because in gaming, it's not about what you have; it's about what you want. Because video games are not a need; they're not a necessity. They're a want in life. So what am I going to get for a $15 headset that's going to benefit me as a gamer or me as somebody who wants to be in the metaverse? It's not, because the majority of people on the other end of it aren't going to have one either.
Okay, one, what you said was offensive to Nick. It is a need, not a want.
I don't think Nick has a need for an AR or VR headset.
No. There's very few areas where VR is really useful that I can see. Maybe it's my imagination's limited. Like I've said before, I work in architecture. I could see a few ways that would be beneficial. Cost effective, no, but I could see a few ways it could be beneficial. They do certain medical training. They use VR to train and practice. Certain military aspects as well. But they're not there's no way on God's green earth that a $1,499 headset is gonna make the rounds to benefit anybody, other than somebody who just got a crap load of money they want to blow. I mean, that is not a device for the average person. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not even, in my opinion, a device for a company. I could see maybe having some military applications for training, but I can't see it being a training device for the medical field, because you need hands-on training devices for that. I like to joke. But have you guys ever seen like the proctology study stuff? There's a freaking fake butt there, and stuff like that. You need tactile responses when you're training in the medical field.
It's not fake. I volunteer 3 times a week.
He's got the cleanest colon around.
Most surgeons just play surgeon simulator, and that's how they get their degrees.
but you need tactile response and feedback if you're doing like life-saving stuff, and that's what you do. If you ever see these virtual VR, not even virtual VR, but the virtual labs for teaching somebody surgery or techniques, they're working on a tactile response device, like something that is physically there that they can touch. Yeah, that they can touch. They're not, they don't practice. I mean, they practice a lot of stuff on cadavers or other types of animals. I mean, or anything, suturing and things like that. They're not practicing on a real live person. They're practicing on a simulacrum of some kind.
I don't know. I'm more interested in the fact that Zuckerberg's blowing his load on this, and pretty soon he's going to just be a regular old millionaire. So I find that hilarious. But what's going to happen with Facebook? I honestly, I think if he keeps going, the investors are going to end up pushing him out, because they can
possibly
do that.
But I mean, I think Facebook is probably already losing a battle. This is my opinion. Facebook is probably already losing a battle of what social media really is anymore, because social media to a lot of people has become vitriol places. Toxicity. I mean, people, yeah, it's a very toxic place, or it's one or the other, right? It's very toxic, or it's a sounding board, right? You either congregate in small groups of like-minded people, and you soundboard off each other, and then you breed like-minded people, and they start to believe that everybody who thinks differently is wrong or whatever, because that's what a sounding board is. Or you're one of these people who are just in the mix of everything, and you see how vitriol it is because one group of people is overly extreme, racist, sexist, whatever it is, or politically extremist or something like that. Because that's really what it seems like around election time in this country. Facebook is like a no-go for me. I hate that freaking place, because I don't care what your opinion is on which side or what. Everybody is an asshole on Facebook, no matter whether you're independent, you're liberal, libertarian, you're Democrat, you're Republican, whatever. You're an asshole to everybody who thinks differently than you. So I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm getting off Facebook for the next 3 months till we get past elections or whatever, or midterms or whatever. So, but that's just me. Facebook will probably... how much more money can they lose before they boot him out?
I don't know, but he better be stockpiling some of that money, because if they boot
His
him
money
out-
is tied up in the stock of Facebook. So if the stock of Facebook keeps going down, he keeps going down.
yeah, well, they have to buy him out because they're going to start losing all their money too. So,
But I mean, that's the only
bet-
way he's getting out, right?
Yeah, I
They
bet.
buy him out.
I bet it won't be if the trend continues. I bet it won't take too long before they finally start saying, "Look, Mark, go back to your home freaking planet, buddy. You're killing us here. So we're booting you."
All right. Well, this all started as Phil Spencer giving a little criticism to the metaverse, and it ended up talking about Mark Zuckerberg and his social media and everything. Yeah. But, Nick, Shane, you guys got anything else you want to chat about on Phil Spencer giving a little bit of critique, whether he really doesn't like it or he's just giving his opinion? It's out there now for the world.
Yeah. Just real quick, I think one reason he did do it, he did come out like that, is to basically knock all VR since Microsoft's not doing it.
Could be. What about you, Nick? Any final words?
Well, I mean, if you're into the metaverse, you'll get to blow your load soon in the metaverse. Just like Mark.
Lucy Lubot.
If I could blow $100 billion, sign me up. I've never seen that much money, and I can't fathom $100 billion. But for him to lose it in 1 year's time frame, holy crap. All right.
Yep.
Well, let us know what you guys think. What do you think of the comments made by Xbox head Phil Spencer, about the metaverse? Are you participating in the metaverse? What do you think about the metaverse? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You don't care? Do you think it's going to be the next thing since sliced bread, or do you think it's going to crash and burn? Kind of let us know. Send us some messages or put some comments down in the comment section. We like to see all that interaction, and we like to hear from you guys what you think, because we don't like to live in a sounding board. We like opinions, whether they're different than ours or not, because we don't all agree. It's the way the world we live in, and we each respect each other's opinions. We may argue those opinions, but doesn't mean that we have less respect or anything for the other person. So let us know what you think, whether you agree, disagree with us, or whatever. Throw it in there. If you don't like it, don't like it. It doesn't matter. So let us know what you think down in the comments. And we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.